Welcome to Testing with RK. In this session, we will be discussing access modifiers. Access modifiers are the keyword used to specify the declared accessibility of a member or a type. There are four main access modifiers in C#: public, private, protected, and internal. We will see all of them except the protected one with an example. The protected we will see when we are doing our session with the inheritance. Okay, first one, public. What does public modifier means? Basically, the public modifier defines that the class or the variable or the method is available to all of the other classes and the methods. Let's see with an example. Currently, I have variables make, model, color, and type. Okay, let me define a new object called Volvo new Volvo car. Now I have an object called Volvo. Okay, the Volvo cannot access the class member called make. Let me split that one so we can see it side by side. Vertical. Okay, now as we can see here, let me reduce that. Make, model, color, and type. Currently there is no access modifier being specified to it, but the moment when I make it public, we will see that these class members, the variables make or model or color or type are available, but we do not have price or engine size. As a matter of fact, that is because the access modifier here for that particular variables we have defined it as public. The same goes with the methods as well. If methods are not public, so for example, if I remove that and try to access the set, I will see that the method is no more available for that particular object. So public, basically what it does is that it's an access modifier which declares that a method or a variable is available to be consumed by other classes or methods. Okay, that is public, which is available for all the classes and the methods. The next one is a private. Private is an interesting one. Okay, let me remove this bit. Now what private does is, as the word itself is quite from its literal meaning private, what it does is that whenever we define a variable or a method as private, what it will do is that it will be only available by other members, other methods to use those variables. What I mean by that is that these data members make, model, color, and type can only be consumed within this particular class by another methods, but cannot be directly invoked. So Volvo dot model is not available, but this will be only available to this particular class. Let's see another example. We can do the same thing with the methods as well. So we know that a car will have car can have servicing, so let's define a method called public void servicing. Okay, and within servicing I know there are so many checks. One of the checks I want to do is check for brakes, check lights, check tires, and so on and so forth. I am defining few methods to do a particular task for braking, lights, and so what I'm going to say is I'm going to define private void check brakes private void check lights, private void check tires. Now what we're trying to do here is that we have a method called servicing which is available for car. Okay, so the servicing is basically checking for tires, brakes and lights, but then to perform that individual task we have methods. So when I call check brakes, it will check for all the brakes. When I call check lights, it will check for all the lights. When I say check tires, it will check for all the tires. But these methods should only be consumed by servicing. It should not be directly consumed by car. That is by definition. Okay, so we are going to say check brakes, check lights, check tires. Okay, and I'm going to say brakes checked, lights checked, checked, and tires checked. Okay. Okay, so this method is public, whereas all these methods are private. When I try, now I want to service a car of object Volvo. When I do servicing, I have that method accessible directly, but if I try to check light here, that won't be available, or check brakes, no, that is not available. In order for you to perform the check lights, check brakes and check tires, you have to call a method called servicing, and that servicing method will perform all of those checks. This is while building our automated test scripts, we will see that there will be some scenarios where you want to define methods as private because you want those methods only to be consumed by other methods or somewhere within the same class, but not directly want to expose it to the object. Okay, so when I save, build and run, I will say it will print on the console for car while it's still building. Okay, so brakes checked, lights checked and tires checked. Okay, and that default constructor string is coming from our previous session where we said for a default constructor here we are creating an object and it is invoking the default constructor. Okay, so that's the private access modifier. The third one we have is a protected. The protected one we will understand in greater detail when we are exploring a concept called inheritance in our next sessions. Internal. Okay, basically what internal means is that, let's see with an clear example. The moment we define an access modifier as internal, that particular data member or that particular variable or method is only available within this particular project. Internal means same assembly or same project. Now let's see with that another example. Let me add a new project. I will select console app, next, and I say test project. Okay, remember within the same solution we can have any number of projects. Ideally in a real world your solution will be your project, within which you will have a project where your developers are writing code. At the same time you will have project where you are writing your automated test scripts. So there is one single solution which has code for development and code for testing to perform the functional test or regressional tests. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to reference in this particular project, we are going to reference this particular project. Okay, to do that, right click on the project and say add reference. Now here I can see my project called C# basic training. Click that and OK. When I look into the dependency and project, I can see the C# training is now available. If I scroll through further I can see that the project has been the project is being currently referenced in this particular project. Now in the main program, what I am going to do here is, so this main program is coming from this particular project. Okay, let me move this here. What I am going to do in this particular class is I am going to create an object of class called car. Okay, Volvo new car. As you can see, currently I am getting error, and that's because the scope of the class itself by default is internal because nothing has been mentioned. The moment I make it public, okay, and I say use that particular thing, now I am able to create the object of the class. Okay, Volvo. When I do Volvo servicing, I can access the method. But if this public was changed to internal, then this particular method is only available within this particular project. Okay, let's see with an example. Volvo.servicing, no more available. So internal access modifier serves the variables and the methods are only available in that particular assembly or project and is not available in other project. The same method servicing is available in the same project. So servicing, yeah. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. Public modifier is when you have the variable and method available throughout your project and also in any other project that has been that is referencing it. Private access modifier, the variables and methods are only available to that particular class where it's been defined. Okay, protected we will be discussing in our inheritance session. Internal is where you have your variables or your methods and classes only available to other classes in that particular project or assembly and is not available to the other project. Okay, so that's our session on access modifiers. Thank you very much for joining with me in this session, and I will see you in the next session. Thank you. Bye for now.